Day 2 in Germany and Day 2 of the 2025 NASCAR Euro Series playoffs. The fans in their droves, record attendance this year at the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben for Euro NASCAR at this destination. On Saturday, they witnessed thrilling racing. Our two races on Sunday certainly have a lot to live up to around this fabulous 14-corner facility at Oschersleben.
Yesterday, we added a new name to the NASCAR Euro Series Open winner list. Bruno Mulders from the Netherlands, your first win. Now you were able to sleep. And have you realized what you accomplished there yesterday?
I mean, obviously very, very happy, and it's been quite something. We've been aiming for the entire season basically, and we've been close quite a few times. So I was very happy to get it all together with the team. We worked really hard for it. So just very happy with everything. And now it's all a reset today, back focused, like nothing happened yesterday, and full on today.
You're not that far away from the top in the standings now. Do you think about that there's something possible?
Well, you're always trying, but we're taking it race by race, doing the most I can, so we'll see where we end up.
All right, thank you very much.
Race 2 of the weekend in the Open Division, and it's points leader Thomas Crassonis, who has pole position by virtue of having the fastest lap during Saturday's race. Alongside him, though, will be Bruno Mulders, yesterday's race winner. The fans in amongst the action, seeing the cars and the drivers up close and personal moments before the engines fired. But race time is now. Crassonis and Mulders on the front row. Who will get the better run down to the first corner? It certainly looks like Mulders may have it going down to the first corner. He will lead into turn 1. Crassonis follows through in second place, then it's Torfel, then it's Capelli, Linster in 5th place as this Open Division race gets underway. Once again, everybody a little bit careful, I think, through turns 1 and 2 after seeing what happened on the Saturday Pro race. Spreading out 2-3 wide going into turn 3 at Haserode. Everybody at the front end of the field certainly cleanly through the opening turns. Of course, the pro race comes in just a few hours after this open race, so their teammates, or indeed themselves, if they're racing in both divisions, would not thank them for wrecked cars going into the race later on today. Mulders, as alluded to in that interview pre-race, has really established himself now as a potential championship threat, and that would be even more the case if he makes it 2 wins here today on this German weekend. Sliding out wide there a little bit at turn 12, but nowhere near as much as Jill Linster there, who did very well to keep the car pointed in the right direction. That would have caught the attention of Patrick Schauber just a little bit there. The car directly behind him. Cars stream across the line at the conclusion of the first racing lap, and Valentino Gambarotto locking up the front axle. And he does very well to miss the back of Jordan O'Brien. Unfortunately, the other club competition car of Valerio Marzi, in evasive action there, has lost a huge number of positions, really had nowhere else to go. Mulders, meanwhile, under scrutiny here from Thomas Crassonis. It's almost a mirror image of what we saw at the conclusion of the race yesterday. And on that occasion, Mulders, for several laps, presented some incredible defensive driving. I'm sure that stern approach to keeping Crassonis in the mirrors will manifest itself again here. Capelli there, just fighting the car a little bit, of course. Grip will be at more and more of a premium as this race wears on. These tyres were used in qualifying yesterday. They were used in the Open Division race yesterday as well. One of the great aspects of this series is watching the drivers figure out that tyre management. And at the end of these races, it often gets a little bit squirrely. Crassonis with a good run out of turn 12, going to the outside at turn 13, in the number 13. Looks to the inside for the following corner, but Mulders cuts his nose off. Crassonis trying to go around the outside at the final corner. Gets a good run out of the turn, but we saw this yesterday where it looked like Mulders had a tiny bit of an edge towards the end of the straight. The car just building a mile an hour or two extra by the end. Probably even less than that, but it's enough to bring him back even with someone who's alongside him. A bit of a touch there between Chrysonis and Mulders. Chrysonis really applying the pressure here. And he looks to the inside at turn 3. There's not quite going to be room. He could have forced the issue there in a way that may have been frowned upon, but no. Chrysonis, always a respectful racer. Wants this victory, wants to extend his championship points lead today. His closest competition coming into this weekend, Martin Dubeck, didn't have the best of Saturdays. He's well down the order out there on the circuit at the moment. I believe P7 right now out on the track. And you can see that as Mulders and Chrysonis continue to fight each other, it's bringing Thomas Teufel in third, along with the rest of the top half dozen, into the frame of picture as well. Chrysonis again trying to go around the outside. This time it's at turn 11, which often does work, but not on this occasion. Mulders carries the speed well. There's Teufel, followed by Linster, followed by Schauber, and then Claudio Remigio Capelli rounding out the top half dozen. Mulders hugging the inside at turn 13 and turn 14. Chrysonis again trying to go around the outside. They're too wide coming out of the corner. They've cost each other time there. And Chrysonis, has he done it? He's certainly got a nose ahead as they come down the straight. But here comes Mulders. Again, with that straight line speed that 72 car seems to possess. Side by side into turn 2. Inside line for Mulders at the second corner. And it's through for the Team Blake-Molen sensation. The young Dutchman holds on. And it's now a 6-car scrap at the front of the field. Chrysonis now has to look in his mirrors because Teufel, Linster, Schauber, Capelli are all right there with him. And you can see there Schauber picking off Linster for 4th place. Patrick Schauber has been consistent and fairly strong all year. He's yet to really grab a headline with a race win this year. Would love to get some podium finishes on the board to try and make a late bid at this championship. Patrick Schauber and RDV competition. Teufel there running it to the very outer limits, as he often does. Really uncompromising in his use of the track. Schauber looks like he got a good run there out of turn 10. Equally, Chrysonis still on the boot lid of Bruno Mulders as well. But Mulders leads them. 6 cars covered by well under 2 seconds. Hugely intense battle at the front in this open division race. Gil Linster with Capelli around the outside and Claudio pushing a bit too far there, as Teufel trying to go around the outside of Chrysonis may have actually cost himself momentum there going onto the main straight. Is it going to be an opportunity now for Schauber to move up to 3rd place? You see in the back of shot Dubeck there in 7th as well. He's released himself from the rest of the pack in 8th place and down. But Schauber is up to 3rd position. It's now a 3-car train at the front, and Teufel is trying now to hold on desperately to 4th place. Look at Mulders, though. Hugely defensive lines into pretty much every corner of the lap. Here comes Schauber trying to go around the outside of Chrysonis, but stays in P3 for now. For Gil Linster, I think he'll need to get past Teufel before long. Teufel, I don't think, quite has the outright speed of the front 3. He has got that fabulous wheel-to-wheel ability that we've seen from him so many times. Teufel is a scrappy driver, a fighting driver. Digs his nails into every position he gets and defends it as if it was for the championship. Look at Mulders. Again, he's going to take the very, very inside line. Chrysonis is not afforded the opportunity to put the nose to the inside. Schauber now looking for a way past Chrysonis if he possibly can. He goes to the outside now at turn 13. Chrysonis desperately trying to find a way around Mulders. It may come here at turn 14. He's got the outside line, which he's used a couple of times. Teufel goes too far to the outside. And while that's happening, Chrysonis with a brilliant run out of the final turn. That's the lead. Is it definitive? Mulders has a look to the inside line, but Chrysonis is through. Staunch defensive driving from Bruno Mulder, some of the best defending I can remember in this series, as well as some of the cleanest. But now he's got to try and rally against Chrysonis. Oh, but he loses the rear end there at turn 3. And unfortunately, a lead is now going to be 5th place after just a few corners. I think maybe Mulders has used the best of those tyres. He's now experiencing grip issues. Ditto Claudio Remeggio Capelli. You saw the yellow flags displayed at the triple. I believe Jordan O'Brien has found himself off the circuit around there. Unfortunate end to his weekend in the 22. Look at that lead now for Chrysonis. He's got himself a nice little cushion over Patrick Schauber in 2nd place. And that cushion leads to a victory. Chrysonis crosses the line and will extend his championship lead immensely. It's a huge profit for the Greek driver and PK Car Sport. This is a big win.
What a race. Normally, I do not use superlatives and say this was the best, but this was one of the best stock car races I've ever seen. You won it. Tell me, how do you feel?
Well, feels very nice. I wanted to have the win here. I thought I deserved it yesterday, but as I said, fair play to Bruno. No foul play in there. And yeah, I had to push. As soon as I was trying again to force a mistake, but as soon as Patrick started to push me, he started to hit a lot to create also an opportunity for himself. And I said, okay, it's now or never. So yeah, balls deep, inside, took the position, won the race. That's it. So all in all, thanks to my sponsors, Costa Mare, Dodoni, my team, PK Car Sport, my coach, Alon Day and Paul Tibas. And yeah, we have one more in Pro. Hopefully we can get a podium there also, but I don't know what's happening with the weather. And yeah, anyway, all good. Yeah, 2 more to go for the championship.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a chat. What did you talk about with Thomas Chrysonis?
Well, about the race, we had a very good, long fight, very fair. So I just wanted to congratulate him on the win.
What about you? You were fighting for the win, then there was just one moment in this amazing battle. Can you tell us what happened there?
Yeah, for me, I was defending for maybe, I think, 10 laps straight, and at some point the rear was just giving up a bit more, and then Thomas had the exit right, and from there on I was really struggling with the grip, but no, really good race, to be honest, still, but obviously a bit disappointed.
And there's the point standings, a 35-point lead for Chrysonis, and jubilation in Oschersleben for the Greek racer. Patrick Schauber happy to be on the podium as well, for sure, as Claudio Remeggio Capelli too. Bruno Mulders still winning the Master Trophy in spite of losing out on the overall podium, and Capelli also claiming the gong in Legend Trophy. Happy Nessa wins Lady Trophy. Moving on then to Pro, and after a hugely dramatic race on Saturday, what will Sunday bring?
First time in Euro NASCAR yesterday. You did your first race. How was it for you?
It was a lot of fun. I was hoping for top 10, but I knew it was going to be hard. But that big wreck in the beginning of the race, first corner, put me in 10th position right away, and I made my way up to 6th. So it was just like a win for me, and I'm really excited about today. Hopefully we do it even better.
What about the car and the level of the championship when you were racing?
Oh, it was great. Everybody raced clean, very clean, respectful, and a lot of good competition for sure. I'm not as good on road course as these drivers, I think, but I'm learning a lot.
All right, thank you so much and good luck today.
Thank you very much.
Great to hear from our NASCAR Canada Series guest driver in the form of Raphael Lessard. We saw there our pole sitter for this race is going to be Paul Giuffreau, and he's alongside yesterday's winner Liam Hazemans at the front of the field. Fireworks pre-race and possibly fireworks in the race as well. Let's go racing for the final time this weekend in Oschersleben. The green flag has flown and we are racing in the NASCAR Euro Series. It's Hasemans with the outside line into turn 1, but it looks like he's going to convert it into turn 2. He slides a little bit wide of the apex, and he holds the lead. Ulysse Delso is off the track, but everybody else gets through the first couple of corners cleanly, and given what we saw yesterday, that could be a small mercy. Hasemans leads then from Giuffreau in second place. Vittorio Gorelli up there in third position. Gianmarco Ercoli has a marginal championship lead coming into today's race, but he's started outside the top 15. He's going to have a lot of work to do, and I think he was slightly tripped up by Ulysse Delso's off there around the first corners. So for Gorelli in third place, this is a huge opportunity to build himself not just a championship lead, but a sizable cushion in the championship going into Zolder. But as we saw yesterday, surviving this race is important too. If Gorelli finishes well up the standings compared to Gianmarco Ercoli, it will certainly affect how we see the championship going into the finale. And what about Hasemans at the front as we see Lessard there running wide? What about Hasemans at the front? If he can sweep this weekend, if he can claim a second win of the season and of the weekend here at Oschersleben, that would establish him as a potential contender going into the finale in Zolder, where just like this weekend, double points are on the line. Davidson, Lessard and Miura 3 wide, heading down the main straight. And it's Kenko Miura that comes out on top of that in the RDV run. Team Japan needs 24 entry, but he drifts out wide at turn 2. Davidson says, okay, thank you very much, and continues on his way. Vladimir Osiortsis sneaks by as well, and Bruno Mulders gets past Kenko Miura. That means he's up the better part of 10 places already. He started 22nd on the grid, if I remember correctly. That is a huge profit from the young Dutchman. What a race weekend he's having across both divisions. Hasemans, Gorelli and Giuffreau, your top 3. And that is Gorelli through into second place, isn't it? Giuffreau was in P2, but he's been demoted by the Italian. Vittorio Gorelli now with a target being lasered through the boot lid of Liam Hasemans. Hasemans will be focusing forward, driving as hard as he possibly can to try and win this race. He knows that in order to mark himself as a contender for the championship along with Gorelli, Giuffreau and Ercoli, he needs to win this race and outscore all 3. Oh, and it looks like Thomas Chrysonis has a problem. What a shame for Chrysonis, who again was another one of those drivers in the conversation potentially for the Pro Championship. He's comfortably leading the Open division at this stage. But a huge drama for him. End of race for the number 13. And a big shame as well, because his season across both divisions of the NASCAR Euro Series has been exemplary stuff. Paul Giuffreau laying the pressure on thick there against the 24 of Gorelli. Garrett Lowe there in 4th place is under some pressure here from Thomas Toffel, and Toffel gets to the inside, but I believe there are waved yellows down there at turn 1 because of the stricken Chrysonis car, which was just getting towed behind the wall there. You can see in the back of shots a tractor unit towing away Chrysonis. I think that may have happened under yellows. Garrett Lowe now under pressure from Dubek then for 5th place. Dubek looking to try and end this weekend on a high, and it's been a tough one across both divisions for him. The reigning Euro NASCAR Open champion. He's not been necessarily one to forget, but by his lofty standards, it's certainly not the weekend he'd have expected. Toffel there running an odd line, and I think he's been told to give the position back to Garrett Lowe. He's just trying to figure out how and where to do it, because Martin Dubek and Claudio Remeggio Capelli are right there behind the American. Of course, the last thing he wants to do is give away multiple places. He pulls to the outside line there for turn 1. To me, I think clearly indicating that he wants Garrett to go through, and that's exactly what he's trying to facilitate here. Garrett Lowe around the outside does move forward, but here comes Dubek. Toffel hasn't quite been able to execute that to perfection, and he's going to lose out to Dubek as well unless he can really hang it around the outside at turn 3. It's not to be. Through goes Dubek. Capelli's going to follow suit as well. And so that move to make 4th place has resulted in him dropping down to 7th, and now he's got Bruno Mulders on his tail. That was Mulders up to 8th position. A stonking drive from Bruno Mulders in this race. Hazeman's, meanwhile, coming under increased scrutiny from Garelli and Jufro. Oh, he's drifting out wide there at turn 14. Is something amiss? Oh, yes, it is, because he slowed down massively there on the straight. Was he trying to change gear and not succeeding at doing so? Either way, the lead has changed. Hazeman's down to 3rd position, and that looks to me like the early stages, potentially, of an ailing race car. He's back on the pace now, but the fact that he just suddenly seemed to briefly slow down the main straight, and we saw there Garelli almost into his rear. Well, into his rear, they did make contact. Let's hope it's not a developing issue for Hazeman. But I think it is, because this is now the battle for 3rd place. This is Garrett Lowe versus Martin Dubek. They were fighting it out outside the podium places, but with the developing issue for Liam Hazeman, it's now a podium on the line. It would be a 2nd consecutive podium for the weekend for Garrett Lowe. For Dubek, it would mark some retribution for a difficult weekend so far. Is he going to be able to pull it off? Side by side, Dubek, has he got it done? He's got the outside line for turn 2. Garrett Lowe will try and hold on to the inside at turn 2. They're side by side coming out of the corner. Garrett Lowe's going to have to hang it around the outside at turn 3. Great exchange between them. But Dubek, I think, has the measure of it. Yes, he gets through. Really solid driving from Dubek. Garrett Lowe running still on the high from yesterday's podium. And you see there, Hazeman's is dropping through the field. That's Gianmarco Ercoli, as well as Jack Davidson, who've just gone past. Gianmarco Ercoli still trying to work his way back through. That puts him into the top 10 at this stage, but not the race that he'd have wanted or needed, especially with this man, Vittorio Garelli, running uncontested at the front of the field. For Garelli, this is the retribution that he sought after yesterday's race, after receiving a penalty that dropped him out of the top 10, after losing out on the ability to capitalise from Saturday's pole position. But he's converted to a victory on Sunday, and that will move him into the championship lead. Paul Giffreau follows through in 2nd. Martin Dubek finishing on the podium in 3rd place. Celebrations for PK Carsport's Italian champ.
It was a good drive. It was an amazing drive. Dominant win there in the 2nd race in the playoffs, and I think you should be back in the championship lead.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, what a race. The PK 24 was really flying today and all weekend, actually. Yesterday, it was a bit of a heartbreak with the incident in turn 1, but it's racing, and yeah, I wanted to really take this win for my family, for my sponsors, you know, and this is a nice result. I'm really emotional because after a big heartbreak, you know, God always looks from up, you know, and this is what we got. So very happy. Thanks to everyone. Hope we did a good show. It was cool in the first few laps.
Well, what a race from Garelli. Junior Trophy honours going to Paul Giffreau. Claudio Remeggio Capelli with the Challenger Trophy classification nod. And the overall points lead by 4 points goes the way of that man, Vittorio Garelli. It's going to be a hugely intense decider at Zolder in just a couple of weeks' time. The 11th and 12th of October, 2 more races for each division will determine our 2025 champions. Let's see what happens in Belgium. It's sure to be a thriller.